What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. Alright, so I'm still doing quests. I'm still trying to get through some of the story content. I have to get through story content. It is what it is. Alright? It is what it is. But you know, after yesterday's stream and thinking about this, now I do have a lot of things to do on PlayStation today, so I'm going to be going through tutorials, how to set up HUD configuration, how to set up a macro, and how to configure your controller for more comfortable gameplay for PlayStation players. But it brings the question, or at least the concern, that this Xbox should be adding this game to their platform. And let's get into the gaming politics at this moment. Because currently, because of the console wars, and I think the console wars should be coming to an end, because companies can make, you know, developers are putting their foot down. Epic Games is just a prime example of that, saying, you know, we don't care. There's money to be made here by everybody. You know, you don't have to be exclusive to make a profit, right? You get a percentage of the sales, whether it be microtransactions or sales from your store for allowing it to be sold on your platform. And being now one of the largest MMOs out there, Final Fantasy 14, why Microsoft isn't taking advantage in Xbox of capitalizing revenue, gaining revenue from this, is just ridiculous, because there's just this thing like, we don't want to be on the same server as PlayStation, because PlayStation and PC share the same server. It is a true cross-platform game. And I find it a little disheartening that some players, you know, because of their preference of consoles, are unable to enjoy a product, right? Because as a gamer, you want to be able to play a game that you want to play, even if you do prefer the Xbox. So it's like, so you're basically penalizing your players to say, oh, guess what, guys? We're not going to allow you to... Hold on, let's get this cutscene. It's a voice act. I'll just skip it. I thought it was a voice. It was text. I thought it was voice. So if it's not voice, I usually skip them. But to me, it's kind of like, oh my god, man, really, guys? I mean, come on, man. I mean, I just think it'd be awesome, personally, if Microsoft would say, hey, you know what? We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll get this game on our platform and allow Xbox players to enjoy the product that they want to play. And in the process, we'll make money from the sales on our store. And that makes sense to me from a business perspective. You know, from a gaming and business perspective, everybody wins in this scenario. Square Enix wins, the players win, and Microsoft earns more revenue. The Xbox platform. It's like, stop trying to make things, you know, difficult for gamers and for developers. You know, I know that you're trying to push your platform and you're trying to gain more revenue in platform sales, but the real money becomes with the available software. I mean, you think about this. Games cost, if it's a buy game, it costs anywhere between $30 to $60 to purchase a game. Right? They get a percentage of sales, right? you know, of what's being, if they offer it in the store. Now, if it's free, they don't get anything, you know, from the initial sale or the download. But games like this are not free. Games like this are, you have to buy. So they're making money by offering it on their, you know, their online store. And it's like, come on, guys. I mean, really? I mean, if it's just, I mean, there's a lot of politics involved. So let's say Square Enix was like, okay, Xbox will allow us to sell this on, then they have to negotiate, make sure Sony's cool with this in their contract. There's contract stipulations, politics upon red tape beyond red tape. So even if, hypothetically speaking, Microsoft was involved, would PlayStation be copacetic in saying, okay, cool, everything's good, we're making money, they're making money, Square Enix is making money, nobody's going to throw a hissy fit? I would like to believe that, but that's not the way the world works. And I just honestly believe, though, that this product deserves to be on Xbox as well. That's my personal belief, that if it could be accommodated, it should be. You know, if it's plausible, it should be. That's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents. You know, I remember a lot of times there were certain games that I really wanted to play on. I'm not going to name out one platform, but there was certain games that I wanted to play and experience because, you know, I wanted to play that game, but I couldn't because I had this platform at the time. Like, for example, I remember when PS3 came out and there was Xbox, I didn't get the PS3. I got the Xbox, and there was the new God of War. And I couldn't get the new God of War and play it because at the time, I didn't have the PlayStation 3. But I understand it was exclusive, right? And sometimes that's understandable, but it's, you know, depending on who's the developer, it's like, well, that sucks. I'm not going to be able to play this game. And it's vice versa. You know, it's just the way it is. So I'm going to cue this. I think I have to do Ankh. So, the instrument of our delivery. Yep. I actually think I'm going to get my food buff on this one too. Perception. Ooh. Vitality and determination. Oh, maybe. It's only one. Gotta start using some of these food buffs. Alright. Screw it. At least I'll add to my health. Alright. Now, we're going to go to Duty Finder, go to Dungeons. Re-hit this. Oh, it's a trial. It's not even a dungeon. And while I'm waiting for Q, I can go do shit. We'll check out the comments. No comments. But yeah, I'm like, honestly, I get so upset that game companies just don't, they don't think about the consumers, man. And to think about it, I mean, you really honestly think about that and how much money they could still be generating. You know, it doesn't have to be about, you know, brand your brand at all times. I understand you do want you want to sell your competitor to a degree, but let that reflect on your console and not on the games that your console offers. the more products your console offers, the better you are. So it's like, I don't know, it's just my opinion. Shit, I gotta go get potions. Dun dum dum dum. Okay. I gotta go get pots real quick. It's early. I might have to wait. Now, you do end up having, like, I have this game on PC and PlayStation. I can access it on both accounts relatively pretty easily. There are a couple of minor elements. I don't know about repairs. Need to get to the sapphire. Exchange. It is way early. Probably won't get this queue until later. Check. He's on already? He is. Man, he's a beast. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Oops. Yeah. Let's see if he gets in. All right. To the exchange. To the exchange. Usually you can buy potions a lot cheaper through the player market. So we'll see what we can do. There's market boards down this way. Company chests are like guild banks. Okay, so we're going to look up our potions. High potions. Quantity. And that's good. Bingo, baby. Easy peasy. Okay, we're going to switch our role while we're waiting. So I already got my white mage leveled pretty much. Let me see. Already got my rewards except the main scenario. Which you have to be level 50 anyways. Oh my, oh my. I haven't leveled any of my melee yet, but I think I'd be better off trying to get my summoner up because he still needs, it's like only 37. So, and this way I can go back. I might be ending the stream early and just getting on the PlayStation so I can do these tutorials. Alright. Like, as you guys can see, my pet bar's over here. I can move that if I so choose. Actually, my thing's up, so I'm going to switch back to my warrior because I have to, because that's the role I went with. And I'm going to commence. Full party. This was fortuitous. Perfect timing.
You should never have come here, warrior of light. I labor only to forge a lasting peace. A peace you would deny us out of ignorance and blind faith. No matter. If it is our fate to be at odds, then it is mine to strike you down. We whom gods and men have forsaken shall be the instruments of our own deliverance. Partake of my flesh. Fill this vessel with your light. Walk amongst your brothers and sisters once more. Oh, Saint Shiva, still the hatred within our hearts and bless us with eternal grace.
Cutscenes are badass in this game. Right. Okay, I'm gonna do the off-tanking. I'm gonna pull him away. Well, until dude does an AoE. Stunned. Nope. Sweet. David, yo, sup, Mystic? I wish Xbox would get this game. I had Final Fantasy 11 on 360. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying, man. They should let this game come on. The only reason it's not is because it has to be put on the same server and it would have to play with PlayStation. That's the only reason. It's capable, and I really wish that they do it. It's like Xbox players should have this. They should have this game.
You, of all people, should understand the suffering war begets. That no sacrifice is too great if it brings an end to the violence. Mine is the righteous cause.
The voice acting's good. The storyline is actually really good. So the voice acting I do pay attention to. I'll read through a lot of the text if it's not too drawn out.
Not understand. A pawn of liars and schemers. And they are no less ignorant than you, following the creed of their fathers without question, never thinking to ask why. Trapped in a delusion of their own creation and blind to the truth.
I really am enjoying like a lot of the elements of this game from a PvE standpoint. PvP needs work. They need cross-server queues. They need multiple queues in this game. It should happen.
We who walk before may lead those who walk after. Seek the keeper of the lake. See with eyes unclouded. Do not squander a mother's gift. Hear, feel, think.
What game was like Earth called Gaia? Wasn't that a Final Fantasy game that the planet was actually called Gaia or something? I don't know if it was Final Fantasy or Phantasy Star. One of them was called Gaia, but this is called Azoria. Yeah, Final Fantasy 11 was really badass game. Final Fantasy 10 is when I was a little disheartened with like the plot.
And so the vessel withdraws, a predictable outcome. Nevertheless, La Habrea will be pleased. How unfortunate.
It talks exactly like the one dude. I'm not gonna spoil any spoilers, but just hearing him. Uh-oh, my new weapon. Oh, oh. That's Gladiator Paladin. There it is. Oh. So I'm trying to build up my score. I got like 2 more pieces I need to get. I'll be good to go. I think I need, yeah, just another ring. Yeah. And my weapon. Crazy. Really, I've been really enjoying this game a lot. And I'm really happy that I actually got to cover it. There's certain parts about, like, I've always hesitant. I'm like, Final Fantasy, I mean, it looked okay, but I'm like, I'm not a story-driven player. I'm just not. It's not who I am. You know, I mean, if I'm looking for a regular RPG, then I always got a single-player game, like traditional Final Fantasy, Oblivion, Skyrim, you know. But now we see an evolution of RPG being, like, MMOs always had lore. Like Like Blizzard back in the day when World of Warcraft was first introduced, the lore was there, but it was underlining to promote, like it gave you the background, but not in depth. Like it wasn't trying to tell you the story; it was trying to give you, some of the lore without trying to take up too much of your playtime. But now we see lore MMOs starting to develop more into, well, in the last couple of years, more into this traditional RPG element, right? Guild Wars did have that. I guess I should say the Guild Wars 1 did have a very story-driven MMO, first Guild Wars. So I guess I do have to retract some of that. And then Guild Wars 2, once again, very story-driven. But the way they have always implemented PvP in those games was pretty good. Guild Wars 2 is a little disappointing to me in comparison to Guild Wars 1 and PvP. This game's PvP, it's not without capability, because I like the fact that they separated the skills, the associated skills, and how the statting goes. But the problem of it is not, you can't make adjustments if people aren't playing it. The way they set up the seasons is good, but it needs a little bit more emphasis, right? It just does. I think I'm still here. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm over here. We'll travel it anyways. That's east. We're going to shortcut this. Make it as easy on us as possible. You have my sword? Skip. Yes, there's a background story. I'm aware. Now I gotta go outside and talk to somebody. Looks like he's on top. Where I was. Oh, nope, over here. You have my sword? I'll say this dude looks badass.
On behalf of the Holy See of Ishgard, allow me to express my deepest thanks. Never before have we been required to contend with a prime. Indeed, there were fears in some quarters that our knights might not be equal to the task. From what we have now learned of these beings, I can say with certainty that we would have lost a great many men had the Scions not intervened.
Then the argument for preemptive action should be self-evident. Perchance now you will reconsider my proposal that Ishgard move against Natalan.
Ere we first met, a similar proposal was tabled, but the Holy See decreed that we were to observe, and that military action should be taken only in self-defense. All things considered, it was not an unreasonable decision. Since the calamity, 2 vigils have fallen to the Horde, while Garuda has never shown any inclination to storm the gates of judgment.
I love the facial expressions too from the NPCs. They did a really good job. They put a lot of detail into this.
You who have faced these primals know well the threat they pose. Ishgard did not until now, and there is naught like a brush with death to change a man's outlook.
At the very least, this should silence any lingering objections to our arrangement with Revenant's Toll. The Holy See may even feel moved to grant us its formal endorsement.
So far as it is possible, the Scions shall be compensated for their service.
We should be grateful for any aid you can provide.
As a gesture of good faith, I shall withdraw my previous request. Your people are doubtless needed elsewhere.
That will not be necessary. We too have a vested interest in watching Dravania's movements.
I see. Once more, I must thank you.
Sir Emmerich, if I may, do you truly believe that Midgardsormr could return?
The heavens are a window unto truth, but those who interpret their movements are not infallible. I requested your involvement as a precautionary measure.
But of course, you sought an excuse to compensate us from the first, mindful of what would happen if Revenant's toll were taken by your enemies. Ishgard is not wont to aid its neighbors, but that does not preclude it from manipulating them to serve its own interests.
Ooh.
Choose your next words carefully.
Yes. Yeah, put her in place.
What sort of man becomes
Oh, his guard. It was. I don't care if it was a dude or what. You put your guard in check.
Yet here I am now. Why do you suppose that is? Because I swiftly learned to tell the difference between words, deeds, and beliefs. You are correct, Master Leveilleur. Ishgard desires to see Revenant's toll flourish, as it would present a troublesome obstacle to our enemies from the south.
We are so glad to be of use to you.
Ooh.
As we are to you. Ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement, lest we forget. One born of necessity. The dragons grow more restless by the day, and the heretics harry us nigh without cease. We have contended with such troubles for centuries, but there are limits to even our endurance. Yet as a pauper is loath to part with his meager possessions, the leaders of Ishgard are not wont to render up their trust to outsiders. But with perseverance on our part, they may yet be made to see the light. Nevertheless, one must take care when walking the road less traveled.
Wise words, Sir Emmerich. I shall make a point to remember them. I must apologize for my earlier outburst. I hope it will not sour our good relations.
Not at all. You but spoke from the heart.
Good shit.
I trust you understand that at times my duties may prevent me from meeting with you. On such occasions, my second in command will speak for me.
Lucia, at your service. Pray excuse our reticence. We are but wary of speaking too freely, lest our sentiments be made known to our enemies. Know that the Lord Commander and I are of one mind. For the sake of Ishgard, and of Eorzea at large, I pray our peoples can put aside their differences. Those who dwell in the past risk losing sight of their future.
Should aught befall one of our shipments, pray inform Lucia immediately. You may also relay to her any words you might have for me alone. Not being of Ishgardian birth, she owes no allegiance to any noble house.
Ishgard. That's a full alchemist race. It makes sense. They look like Ishgards almost. I don't know if they have the red eyes, but the way the facial structure is, that kind of reminds me. And Full Metal Alchemist is a Japanese anime.
Which reminds me.
Scott, what's up? How you liking this game, brother? How'd you like your first experience? I'm enjoying the show here. I do like watching this. So the story development's been pretty good.
The results of our investigation into the heretics' recent attacks, as well as our interrogation of the merchant you detained.
Sir Emmerich, I cannot thank you enough.
Think nothing of it. Ishgard may be many things, but it is no friend to Garlemald.
Did I not tell you to have faith, my friend?
It's always an underlining somewhere, isn't there? Good stuff. So how you liking this, Scott? I hope you started enjoying the storyline. Maybe you're a little bit more like some of it starts off a little, but it gets good. It does. Like some of the plots amp up. So I just got my new weapon. So every time we get a new weapon and after we equip it, as you guys can see, I'm going to go ahead and save that. That's going to up my gear score. And I'm just one jewelry away from having a 110 gear score. And then 55. And then I should be almost to my Heaven's Ward expansion. And of course, this is like my off weapon now. And stuff like that. Which I'll probably end up taking my healing staff. I think I need, let me check. I think I need a 110 on my staff for my healer. Yeah, I have a 90. This is my healer. So everything else is 110 except with one ring. And everything else is, I think, oh, that's 92. My bracers. I thought, hold on. Thought I had a 110 bracer. I can get it today. It's no biggie. Right there. And I'm just going to save it. I did. Okay. Yeah, I have a 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, 120. I have a 110 gear score with my healer. I have a higher gear score with my healer than I do with my tank. I just don't play my healer very often. But this is my healer. Looks badass. Look at the staff too. That's pretty badass. I'm really, some of the details. Look, it's like a witch's head. Made out of wood. Oh, sick. So sick. It's been good working on my HUD a little. Much less jumbled mess. Got you. Yeah, I'm going to go over that here in a little bit. I'm going to do a tutorial for how to set up macro or set up macros, configure controller, and basically how to adjust like your HUD. Like me personally, I am definitely a HUD snob myself. Like when I expand this, you guys will see like my HUD is like I keep opened, very open. A lot of people will like go 4 bars, but I don't like anything in my way of my feet, because I need to pay attention to ground movements. And then I scroll out as much as possible. Typically when I'm doing dungeons, if I'm not in a dungeon, I don't worry about it as much. And this is how I've typically, and I always have these in the center of my bar. So every time, any game I've ever played, my health bars and my stat bars will go on top. I much prefer the way they did it in this game to go across, right, instead of triple stack. So I like this configuration a lot better. My HP over here. I wish I could switch this around. Like I want my, instead of my magic over here, I'd like to see my HP at times in center and then my magic over here. But my TP, I like my TP where it's at. I wish I could customize this a little bit better. But other than that, I mean, as long as it's at my top, because this way my targeting is usually under here. So I can see my relatively, my stats and my target like all in one. So it makes it a lot easier for me for my heads up. And then I have these as set as drop downs instead of pop-ups. So I did like that as well, that it repositioned. And then everything that's out of my way is always kept down to the bottom. My chat box, everything else. My mini map I always keep up. But a lot of people don't like the mini map because I do use the bigger map. But when I'm traversing small areas like this, I have like the road map accessible, and then I have the daytime, and then the access of location. So to me, that's relative at times, not all the time. Some people don't like the mini map. Some people just like the big map because it does it. But I find the only time I use the big map is when I'm repositioning. So I'll click this. It tells me to go to Mordaunt. Then I can just come here and then travel, fast travel. And then you see my cast right here underneath of my target, the way my casting goes. That's how I prefer it. That's how I like my HUD. That's a preference thing. See, and then I can just go ahead and turn that off, and then I have the mini map associated. Pretty cool. The outfits are badass too. I will say that makes it look really good. Really quick too. Might as well handle this. You'll get currency, right? When you do the dailies, called Allegan Tombstones of Poetics. Okay. Now, when you get these, you will go to, once you get to Mordana, you can use the merchant here to exchange those for gear, right? So, usually, typical MMOs, we have gear progression, and each type of currency will have associated vendors. And the vendor for this specific is up here, and it goes to 120. So I can come over here and I can literally talk to this person. So all of a sudden I come here and boom. There's casting and healing stuff right here. On this one, special arms. You can buy different things associated. I think there's a Servant of Splendors. So you got to get these as well. So there's different tokens and stuff. There's a shield. That's for the paladins only. But at least you get the idea how the exchange works. It looks like they only have casting and healing armor, which I'm glad I'm doing my other. So maybe I have to talk over here. Maybe there's another vendor. But there's usually this is the vendor I found to get my healing gear off of. So anywho, there you guys go. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get on there. I'm going to set up and do a tutorial really quick. And then I've got some other stuff to do today. But yeah, interesting. I hope you're enjoying it, Scott. I hope you do enjoy this game. Like you said, you're on a trial, so you can try it out. The graphics are really well done. Performance, like I said, I have yet to play an MMO on my console. PC, it's debatable. I mean, there's a lot of good performing MMOs out there. But on console, I have yet to play such a well-polished game and have high-end performance. And this game, as an MMO, playing as an MMO on a console, the best experience besides DCUO. DCUO on console is very well polished, very smooth. But this game, for the high-end graphics that it delivers on a PlayStation and the quality, bar none, the best experience. No hiccups, no lag, no ability jumbles, no lockups. It is probably one of the best polished MMOs on PlayStation currently, and I can say that without any doubt. And any company who wants to say otherwise, I'm sorry, you guys are full of shit. Because the simple fact of it is, I test every product's capability when I'm going in. Like, what's the speeds? Why am I, what's my average frames per second on this product in this scenario? No offense to any companies. Some of these companies have products that are really good. I'm not debating the quality of the content, but the performance, I'm measuring up performance by performance, and this game hands down slaughters any other MMO currently on console. Currently. Not saying ever, currently. And that's just an unbiased observation. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's the facts. So if you're a player who wants performance, then welcome. If you're an MMO who wants performance, then the best performing MMO on console for you is Final Fantasy. It might not be your go-to game, though. If you're looking for PvP, I wouldn't recommend this game for PvP. I would tell anybody, don't come to Final Fantasy for PvP. I would not make that recommendation. I would tell you, no, don't do it. If you're a player who doesn't like story-driven games, I would tell you not to come to Final Fantasy. If you're a player who can't adapt to turn-based combat, I would tell you not to come to Final Fantasy. Okay, so there are things I would tell you not to come to Final Fantasy for. But if you are a player who likes story, who likes a good plot, who likes plot twist, and very developed storyline, and I'm talking in multiple concepts, not just main story. There are other side stories that have very detailed story arcs to them. Then this is a good game for that. But, if you're a meat and potatoes type of player, this may not be your cup of tea. But as far as dungeoning, best dungeon experience I've had in years. I have not had this much fun in a dungeon since probably Rift. So Rift was when I got introduced to Rift. I enjoyed Rift's dungeons so much because it took my 6-hour raids and converted them into like 2 hour and a half, 2 hours. It took my end game from like 7 hours to 3 hours on running HK and some of the other end game, and I really enjoyed that about Rift. Rift to me, it was something I enjoyed for quite a while, and I haven't had this much fun in a dungeons since then. And like, I've had fun in dungeons, but I haven't had that experience of atmosphere, feeling it, how the combat works within the area, the confinement, everything mattering, second by second. Environmental mechanics, not just boss mechanics, but environmental mechanics. This game delivers. So I'll tell you that. Amazing. Simply amazing. Very, very detailed. Good job, man. Square Enix, man, you delivered a hell of a product for dungeon crawlers. So I will let you guys go. I'm going to set up on the PlayStation, and I'll take a small break, and I'll get back on there, and we'll go over this. And as always, thank you guys. Have a nice day.